All right, we're back. Thanks everybody for joining us. This is a really exciting show for me tonight because one of the great things about doing these rewinds is getting to catch up with people who we worked with very early on in the show. And that's going to be our guest tonight. So without further ado, if you have any questions, I see there are a bunch of you already here. If you have questions, just put them in the chat and we'll try to get to them all. Thanks. Sam Adams is already there in the chat. Beyond Vaudeville and Oddville were fantastic shows, a fond part of my childhood. Thanks for the memories. Well, great, Sam. We're glad we gave you good memories, and hopefully we'll give you more good memories tonight with tonight's show. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce this was a comedy team that worked with us in our early stage shows, and our early TV shows appeared on both Beyond Vaudeville and Oddville. With her mom, she was part of the world's only mother-daughter comedy team, and of Coco and Penny. Coco, unfortunately, passed away in 2019 at age 91. And was performing pretty late into her life with Penny. Please welcome from Coco and Penny, Penny.
Hey.
Are you there, Penny?
I'm here. Hi, Rich. So good to see you. Oh, it's so exciting. It's wonderful to be here. Great to see you.
Yeah, and I just discovered when I was researching this and that you grew up in Massapequa, yes. Affectionately known as Matza Pizza.
That's right.
And I was in the neighboring town of Seaford, so we actually grew up right near one another.
That's right. I know, it's such a small world. It really is.
I guess that's why I was able to relate so well to the comedy of you and your mom.
Probably, definitely.
So I know you're still performing, and even though your mom did pass, but we have a bunch of photos that I'd love to just kind of bring up so we can talk through your career and your mom's career. Well, they went hand in hand, the two of you. So let me put this on, and here we go. Yeah. This is, this was one of your many great headshots that you did with your mom.
It's one of our headshots. Yep.
Yep. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah. And as we more evolve the act, you see she has a blonde wig. So, and I blonded my hair. So, we went all California when we came out here. So that's more, I guess, more of the latest version of our act, I guess.
And now this is really special. I've never seen these photos. Yeah. These were your mom.
Yes.
Now Coco was her stage name. Her real name was Elaine. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And that's her on the pony.
Yes, that's her as a little girl on the pony. And I guess always somewhat being a showman. and then the shot, like a headshot, is one of her early headshots as she pursued her acting career.
And did she also grow up on Long Island?
Actually, she grew up in Brooklyn.
Ah, okay.
Okay, and her mom was from New Hampshire. And interesting with her mom actually played for the silent movies, was a pianist. Oh. And so her mom was a fine musician, then later on became a piano teacher. Many times, like I said, she was from New Hampshire, so many times my mom spent a lot of her summers up in New Hampshire in the New England area. And then sometimes you sometimes could hear a little bit of a New England accent when my mom would talk.
So that pony might have been up there, not necessarily Brooklyn.
I'm not positive. It's a possibility. Yeah, it could have been. Yes.
So this was also something that I didn't know anything about. But your mom played in an off-Broadway show in 1969 called The Moon Dreamers, and her co-star was
Herve Villechaize. Yes,
Herve Villechaize. Wow.
Yes. Yes, a Fantasy Island fame, but this before he did Fantasy Island. And of course, many times my mom would say, I meet these people before they get famous. She says, I think I'm lucky for them, she would say.
Now, did she say what Herve was like? Did she ever talk about him, or?
Yeah, she said, yeah, he was really great to work with. And actually, I even got a chance to meet him. I was a little girl at the time. backstage. And yeah, he was very, very nice. And the funny story about him is that unfortunately, when Herve had passed, my mom had gotten a call from the Howard Stern show. Now, just to preface this a little bit, we had just sent a press kit to Howard Stern a while back. And one time he was talking about comedy teams. And my brother was a big fan of the Howard Stern show, called in and said, "Oh, have you ever heard of Coco and Penny, the world's only mother-daughter comedy team?" And Howard Stern says, "Yes, and tell them to stop sending me their press kit." He says they keep sending their press kit every day. Now, of course, that's not true. We're not sending them our press kit every day. But I guess they might have held us in the files there, because when unfortunately Herve had passed, I guess they had remembered this picture. So they called my mom, and they and it was in the morning, because it's an early morning show. And I guess my mom had just woken up, and he was Gary, Gary from the Howard Stern show, calls Coco and says, "Hi, this is Gary from the Howard Stern show. We'd like to put you on the air. We'd like to talk about Herve Villechaize." I went, "Oh, yes, Herve. Yes, I worked with him. He was a very nice man. I'm so sorry he passed away." And they just kept prodding her with more questions like, "Did you ever see him naked?" Things like that, because Howard Stern's a little more on the risque side. So my mom's, "Oh, no, he, oh no, I never saw him naked, and maybe it would have been nice to see him naked." Well, I'm not sure, just maybe, but how she answered wasn't quite the answers that they wanted to hear. So they did not put her on the show. But I think they did somehow mention her on air, saying, "Oh yeah, this Coco, she worked with him." So.
Now there's a question in the chat of what's the story behind the costumes here. I think Herve was playing a chief of police, right?
Yes, I wish I could remember the show. It was one of back in the 60s, these very kind of avant-garde type shows. So she played his companion. She was like his girlfriend, and as you see, has a collar and a leash. So it's very strange. But she'd follow him around the stage. She was known as his companion.
Well, like you say, it was 1969. So eventually you come along. This is you, right? In the middle. And that's a very scary doll next to you. What was the story with that big doll there?
Yeah. So you see, there's also so if you're looking, I guess straight up to the right, you see the Jackie Gleason doll.
Yes.
My mom posed me with Jackie Gleason. I'm just a baby here. And the other side is the monkey, which almost is kind of foreshadowing being on your show.
So wait, is that actually a Jackie Gleason doll?
Yes. She actually had quite a doll collection, my mom.
Wow.
So
I didn't know such a thing existed.
Unfortunately, I don't have this doll anymore. It'd probably be quite a collector's item now, I would imagine. But that she posed me like that, and like acting as if I smoke. I don't smoke, but she put like a little some kind of like a stirrer in my finger, and she just thought this would be a funny picture. So you see, she was already putting me into funny situations before I even knew it.
Starting you off young, and then these were some photos from over the years growing up, and you actually had two other siblings?
Yes. So I have an older sister. So you'll see in that first picture, I guess to the left, and you see I'm a baby with a hat on. She puts this oversized hat on me. So again, she's trying to get me ready for this comedy career. And there's that's my sister next to me. And then that's just us goofing around in the pool. You see me sitting on a float in a little raft. And then if you see on the far right picture, we're wearing matching skirts. Again, you see, unbeknownst to me, I guess I was slowly getting indoctrinated doing something with her.
Now, was that a special occasion, or did your mom typically wear colorful clothing like that?
She liked to dress very colorfully. She did like to dress like that, and I guess she thought it'd be funny. We just would wear these matching skirts. I think we might have been going to a birthday party or some special occasion there, and she liked to do that.
Wow. So now this looks like something out of a John Waters movie here. So what was going on here?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, here we have, through the years and doing our showbiz career, a lot of different managers, they just say, well, you should take some kind of a photo where you really look like the child and she looks like the mother. So as close as we can make her look like a Leave It to Beaver mother, let's say, like a June Cleaver, and me acting like a child, like the baby. I'm in a playpen, and this was a publicity shot. I don't think it went too far, but I thought I sent it to you so you got an idea of the craziness.
I think the thought of ever getting your mom to look like a June Cleaver type was going to be a challenge.
Yes, exactly.
So these are great shots from over the years, and I noticed the bottom left. I could see from the sign. It's small here, but it was actually Richard M. Dixon's White House, his comedy club in Massapequa, Long Island, right?
Yes, that's right. And we also performed this in a club called Good Times in New York. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. And so we did our cabaret show a lot. So that was just to give you a couple of scenes of us in our cabaret show. And then in the middle doing a little orphan Annie. I was doing actually like Annie Rooney, the Andy Rooney fame from 60 Minutes.
Oh, like a mix between Andy Rooney and Little Orphan Annie?
Yes. I come and say, this is Annie Rooney, like Andy Rooney. And then I go into complaining about something like Andy Rooney, a little bit we did in the act. And then we did Ice House a lot. I'm sorry.
So when did this actually start? When did you start? When did the two of you start performing together?
So how it actually had started was that I had put together a musical review. Mm-hmm. And it's called Bowery to Broadway. It was all about the different sections of New York. And it ran for, I guess, a couple of weekends. It was an off-Broadway show. And I put my mom in it. She played like a goofy switchboard operator representing the offices of New York. Mm-hmm. So after that show had its little run, and all the actors went on to their own thing, my mom and I were left. We said, maybe we could put something together and try to do something. So it actually started as a cabaret show. And then it just kept evolving, and as stand-up was getting more and more popular, we said, we should just make this a stand-up act. And also we didn't have to bring so many props all the time. So that helped too. And also back then they also had pianos, so we were able to do a lot more music, comedy music. So we just, like I said, it just kept evolving.
So this was around the early 1980s, or?
I'd say mid-80s.
Mid-80s, okay.
Mid-80s, and I think we did your show sometime in, was it late 80s? Beyond Vaudeville?
Yeah, and we'll be getting to that. We're gonna look at some clips of the live shows you did with us and our TV show. And who was writing a lot of the material for the two of you?
Well, we did some of the writing. We did purchase some writing. A lot of comedians were very nice, and sometimes would come up and say, I have an idea for you. I have a good bit for you to do. And they would just very nicely share some things with us. It was a real combination and collaboration of a lot of different things,
And when you were playing,
I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say, and the comedy act is really based on that, the straight man and the comedy person. So as like, Martin and Lewis. So I was more Dean Martin. She was more Jerry Lewis.
Right. Exactly. And okay. And so here, yes, this is when this might have been the first show we did with you. This was in 1987. We were doing a live show with Al Lewis was hosting, and do you have any memories of this, doing these live shows?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing these live shows. I remember Al Lewis was a host, and he was very nice to us, and he even invited us to his club. So later on, we actually got to perform at Grandpa's, the comedy club he had in Staten Island. Oh. And and we met the fellow performers and your regulars, and it was a great group. We had a great group.
Now that you mentioned it, I forgot that he had a comedy club in Staten Island. What was that like there?
It was. I'll tell you, it was pretty full. I remember the audiences were pretty packed, and you had a lot of good comedians. A lot of people up and coming people, and of course, Al Lewis was the draw. Everybody wanted to see Grandpa, naturally. So it was a really nice club. Really enjoyed it.
We have a comment here from Tom Smith, who said, I read in the New York Times, and there were a number of write-ups about Coco and Penny. We saw some of them in that last shot. I read in the New York Times that Coco and Penny tried out a lot of their material on Coco's husband and Penny's father, but that he was a tough audience.
Oh, this is true. My father was kind of tough, and once in a while he would come to the clubs, and he'd make even a call. That wasn't funny. Hopefully nobody heard him, but yeah, he was. It's true. Somebody knew that he was a tough critic. Yes.
And he was a shop owner or something, or
Actually, he worked in the sporting goods business.
okay.
He was a buyer for different retail stores. So
Yeah.
he was very into sports. I'd say.
And what did he think about the two of you pursuing this comedy? Would he just grumble about it and just roll his eyes?
He was hoping we'd be successful. I mean, maybe his dream was, oh yeah, let them get a world tour and finally get out of my hair.
Tony Douglas just has a comment that says London Lee.
Oh gosh.
Now I don't know. Was there a reference to London Lee that was made earlier? Did you make one?
No, but maybe somebody knows we had worked with London Lee. So London Lee, for some of your viewers may know, was a comedian back from the Ed Sullivan days.
Right.
And we were on, well, you didn't get to that we were on the David Letterman show, and he actually ended up contacting us with saying, hey, I'd like to work with you guys. I have some ideas. So he actually ended up being our mentor as we started. And then he took us up to the Catskills, and we performed with him up in the Catskills. And so that he would introduce us as his Aunt Coco and Cousin Penny and bring us out.
Wow. And Tony Douglas just followed up in the chat. He wrote some jokes for them. So, okay.
Yes. And London Lee wrote us some jokes. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. London Lee, who had, he had a record album out, and he had he would go on the Ed Sullivan show as the poor little rich kid. I think that was his routine.
Yes. I think that's what he was famous for. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And let's see. Here you are on the Beyond Vaudeville TV show, and we're going to take a look at some clips from this. We'll look at the clips, and then we can talk about that later. And this was, you mentioned David Letterman. You went on. Letterman had on at least twice. He had Richard Rothman on, the talk show host, bringing on some of his regular guests. And that's the two of you seated there next to Richard Rothman, right?
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Who were some of the others there? I'm not sure I can recognize them.
There was one of the gentlemen there. I think that might be the one wearing the hat. His thing was that he sounded like Frank Sinatra, and he would sing Frank Sinatra songs.
Okay.
Remember that? Yeah. And I think you might have actually had some of these acts might have even been on your show. I'm not sure if the gentleman on the end was the one who used to write songs.
Yeah, it's hard for me to tell from this shot who's who here. And when you two were on there, did you get to tell a joke, or how did that work?
Yes, we did. We got to just do a couple little jokes in the chair, and because there were a lot of people, as you see the way we're positioned, I'm actually sitting on the arm of a chair. So my mom got to sit down. I'm sitting on the arm of the chair, and all the people are back of us. And then there's an interesting gentleman you see that's between David Letterman and Richard Rothman. He's holding a cabbage. And the cabbage, his whole thing was lecturing how cabbages are like our brains. And brains or cabbages are very similar. So you should eat a lot of cabbage. That's what I remember of this particular person's act.
I'm not sure who that was. Wow, I don't remember that guy.
Yeah.
But Richard Rothman had a very interesting show on public access in New York, where he would often have at least as many guests as you see there on the show. And he was on for years. He was really a pioneer on public access TV. Yeah. And I had always heard that he had asked for donations for people appearing on the show. Did you have that experience with him, or?
Not too much. Maybe once in a while he did.
Yeah.
But it wasn't too much. But he was, as he gave a lot of people opportunities.
Yeah. I think it was like to cover his production costs or whatever.
Yes.
And then you wound up with the World Wrestling on the Bobby Heenan show.
You did some research since I forgot about this picture.
So this was 1989, and he had a show. Bobby Heenan had a show with wrestling. And what was this experience like?
So Bobby Heenan is famous for the world wrestling world.
Uh-huh.
And he had us on, and we did our little act, and he made fun of us, I remember. And I guess he's sort of trying to be sort of like a Don Rickles type.
Uh-huh.
And I guess he didn't really know what to make of us, but they did contact us to be on the show. I guess he had also different type of acts. I guess maybe he was trying to be like you, Rich, have the different kind of odd acts.
Was there any rehearsal, or you just went?
I'm trying to remember. I think we might have had a rehearsal, just ourselves. I think like a camera rehearsal.
Okay.
And then we just met him right as filming it, taping it. Yeah. But it was a fun experience. It was definitely fun. And there you are, Anna. That was great. This is MTV's Vaudeville.
Yeah, this was Vaudeville, and you guys had just moved out to Los Angeles after working years in New York, and but we were able to get you back, thankfully, to come and be a guest on Vaudeville. And any memories of that experience?
Oh, it was really great. That was a very professionally run show, I remember, and the coordinators, I think you had segment producers, I think, for each act, and they ushered us in where to go, to the dressing room, to the green room. It was a great experience, and I'm trying to remember there's different people in the act, but everybody was always unique and very supportive. I think it was very nice that even though you might have like a lot of different, maybe odd type of acts, everybody was very supportive of one another.
I'm trying to see who was on with you. You were on with Kamchik, the singing cowboy, a pretzel girl, Leslie Liebling, Young Yeller, Ken Tufo, the band Chavez, Kendall Gill, the basketball player, and Paulie's Marshmallow Mania. That was a guy who kept stuffing marshmallows in his mouth, which I think it's a game, right? Called Chubby Bunny or something, where you put as many marshmallows in your mouth as you can. And it used to be done all the time in like church groups and camps. And then they stopped doing it because people were dying from this game because they couldn't breathe. Yeah. Thankfully that didn't happen on that show.
Thank God. Yeah.
Matthew Fuller is saying Vaudeville was 1997. What did I say? 1996, Matthew, my apologies. So I like that, the people in chat are correcting us on our own live, and they're accurate. So I give them credit. Let's see, what else do we have here? So this was the last time I got to work with the two of you together. This was for AOL Online, the AOL Asylum Sideshow, it was called. And I got to bring in some acts to do their thing, and including you two. And this was 2010. Don't correct me on that, Matthew. I know it for a fact. It was 2010. So this was pretty late in your mom's performing life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we still performed even after that. And as you mentioned, till pretty much even later in life, she, was still performing pretty much. Wow. But
how, into her mid 80s or?
No, I'd say even in her early 90s.
Wow.
Even a little before she passed. I think the very last show we actually did was like a private party.
Okay.
We performed at a private party. And I guess she was 90 then. Yeah.
Wow.
But she loved to perform.
Yeah.
Just like me.
This is actually on YouTube if anybody wants to check this out. It's called AOL Asylum Sideshow. And then over the years, you got to meet a lot of well-known personalities, and walk us through who are we looking at here?
Okay, so on the top left, that's actually a picture with Fran Drescher. And I thought that's, very timely after considering that we just had this long actor strike. And she was, very important in finally getting it settled. So that's a picture with Fran Drescher, who was very nice. And we were told, mother-daughter comedy team. She was like, oh, wow, mother-daughter comedy team. She was impressed. So the center picture in top, my mother also was part of an organization called Motion Picture Mothers.
Okay.
And they're a group that it's a nonprofit group that supports motion picture, like the Motion Picture Home that's out in Woodland Hills. And so they do events to raise money for that home. And she's pictured with the lady in the gold shirt there. Her name is Marion Dugan. She's unfortunately also has passed, but she's the mother, because this group was all famous, like mothers of famous people. So she's the mother of Dennis Dugan, who is a famous director, and he's known for a lot of the directing he's done for Adam Sandler movies. And there's the gentleman on the left. He's just was a friend of. They took the picture with Marion there. The far right picture, folks might recognize, is a picture with William Shatner. And we got to take a picture with him. And of course, we joke like, beam us up, Captain. And he was very friendly. I have to say, he loved the women. He kind of got in there tight. They get a nice tight shot with us. But he was very nice. And then on the lower left, there's a picture with the Mad About You with Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt. Because we had, how we got some of these pictures, actually, we had a sitcom like a lot of comedians try. We had a pilot, a sitcom called She's With Me, all about us being this mother-daughter trying to make it in showbiz. And so we were there pitching our TV show. So that's how we got to meet some of these celebrities. So we had that picture. Now this picture in the middle is actually just a fun picture I did with Angela Cartwright. Angela Cartwright played Penny on Lost in Space.
Two Penny.
So it was just fun to go, hey, my name is Penny. And it's nice. She signed a picture, and she was at a TV convention thing, and she was signing pictures, and she did write a nice note on the picture. It said, from one penny to another penny. So that was and then on the far right, that's actually a picture with my mom with Anthony Hopkins. And that was actually, I think, at a Motion Picture Mothers event they were at. And so that's, so like, as you go through your journey in showbiz, as I'm sure you get to meet some celebrities.
We have another early Beyond Vaudeville performer in the chat, Vic Martino, who was known as Vito Martino with Book and Martino. He says, I remember Coco and Penny very well. Hey, Coco, do you remember the comedy team of Book and Martino? We did a couple of shows with you and your mom. We had a hard time following you on the Steve Allen radio show. You two were much better than we two. Anyway, me and Book say hello. Let's shake, and then we shake. Ha ha.
Yes. Well, hello to Book and Martino. Absolutely. Hello. And yeah, I think we did some comedy lineups together, because you don't meet that many comedy teams. Not that many comedy teams out there.
And was there really there was a Steve Allen radio show that you did, or was he making a book there?
So how that was about, there was a show, it's on WNEW. And there was, I don't know if you remember, but his name is Mark Simone.
Yes.
He had a radio show.
Yes.
So Mark Simone had a radio show, and then he had on Steve Allen as his guest. And then they did a lot of like things together, radio things together. And then they had they did like a live radio show in one of the restaurants. And so they had Steve Allen and Mark Simone, and then they invited us to come and do a little comedy bit. So that was the Steve Allen connection. But actually, that came from Mark Simone watching Richard Rothman. And that's how that came about, because he saw us on Richard Rothman.
Well, Mark Simone was definitely a kindred spirit. When I was a high school kid, I used to call in to his Simone phone on WPIX doing imitations of Mr. Rogers and Joe Franklin. And he enjoyed them so much. At the time, his sidekick was Tom Likas, and they invited me into the city to come into the studio to do my Mr. Rogers. So I have a photo with him, and that was he definitely had a great appreciation for comedy and off the wall kind of stuff.
Yes.
And let's see. So let's go for another. Okay, so this is you and your husband and Coco.
Yeah, that's just a recent picture. It might have been a few years before she passed. So just to give you an idea of a more recent picture of Coco. And that's my husband. My husband who's a writer. His name is Michael J. Herman. And so a little shout out to my hubby who's watching.
And she lived with you in her later years?
In the later years, yes. In the later years. Yeah.
And wow, so you guys really were close. I mean, all those years together, and
very close. Yes.
And then these are just some fun shots of you. You still are performing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing these are like you'll do gorillograms and
Yes. So I do. Yeah, I do singing telegrams.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and if anybody's interested, I'm available for singing telegrams. So yes, that's me doing a gorilla. I just sent a couple of pictures there, and me doing as a Santa's helper for the holidays. And but I also have like do a chicken costume and a clown costume and a banana. I mean, you name it, I probably could get you the costume and I can do it and sing you your song, sing a special occasion.
Wow. And any, is it ever challenging doing singing telegrams? Do you ever show up for somebody and they're just like, no, I'm good?
That has happened one time. And actually, this is funny. It was actually at a toy store. I was a manager at a toy store. And I think I was just dressed up as a clown, nothing real threatening or anything. And the job is you have to sing your song because you've been paid to deliver the song. Right. So he actually ran away from me, went into his office, shut the door. I think it was like a birthday singing telegram. And I still did the telegram, but I had to sing it through the door. He was just afraid. Maybe he was afraid I was a strippergram. I don't know. But sometimes that happens. But most of the time, people are pretty receptive. Yeah.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some video. This is first we're going to see one of your live performances. And I think it's from the Al Lewis show. I think you ended up doing 3 of our live shows, but this is the one with Al Lewis. And then we'll see you and your mom on the Beyond Vaudeville TV show.
Coco and Penny.
Coco.
Hello.
What are you doing?
Quiet, Penny. I'm practicing my exercises.
Exercises?
Yeah, I was watching Dr. Ruth, and she said you could do them anywhere.
Oh, what are you doing?
Relax, kid. I was just fixing my bra.
Mother, this is a very nice audience. They could read you like a book.
Oh, then they know on the inside I'm the joy of sex.
Well, we've worked the Metropolitan Comedy Club circuit, Catch Rise and Star, Improv,
Danger Fields.
Just clubs on the island, Governors,
The comedy stop at the Trop in Atlantic City.
Very nice to have a nice spot over there. And some TV things.
Right.
We had a little spot on Late Night with Letterman.
Our magazine with
Gary
Collins. Right. And of course, Joe Franklin, our
Right,
friend.
Joe Franklin, of course.
Just tell us what you did today.
Well, I went into the church without.
You know what? I think this edit cut off the end of the punchline on the other joke. She says inside she's the joy of sex.
Yes.
And then
I give her a dig by saying, on the outside, you're the joy of cooking.
Right. There we go.
That's the punchline.
Got my shirt on.
What happened?
Well, a guy came by. He said, you can't come in here like that. So I told him I have a divine right.
And then what did he say?
He said, you have a divine left too. If there's a wrong way to do it,
You don't even diet.
nobody does it like me.
It is the wrong way to eat it up, the right way to chew it up.
Nobody does it like me. I've got a big, huge mouth. I'm always eating much too free.
If you go for tact and manners,
Better stay away from me if there's a right way to eat French fries.
wrong way to exercise.
Nobody does it.
No, nobody does it.
Nobody does it like
Wonderful.
My name
He didn't say that about everybody. And now, did you guys often work songs into your act like that?
Yes, but as time went on, And of course, it was really great that you had music at your live show. So it was when we got to be able to do it with, live music there. We later on, we might just end with a song. So a lot of times we would do, there's the Cyndi Lauper Girls Just Want to Have Fun. So we did a parody called Moms Just Want to Have Fun. So many times we would just sort of end with a couple of lines of Moms Just Want to Have Fun at the end of our stand-up.
Which some comics, old school comics would do that, right? Don Rickles would do it, and others would have a song that they would do as part of the routine. Did you would you and your mom get into disagreements much, or how? I mean, was it were there bumps in the road? I mean, all comedy teams have those stories of that one way, one to go the other way.
Right. I mean, the thing is, it was really, because we were working out material. So there might be some disagreement, like, oh, I think, this is a better way to do it, or this line is better than that line. But the great thing about doing the comedy shows and having a lot of different gigs is that, we work the commerce. Okay, let's try it your way. Let's see how it goes. And the next time we can try it my way. So that's how we pretty much worked it out. And then,
you never really... You never broke up the act. It just continued on.
I have to say, it continued on. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And here you are on the Beyond Vaudeville TV show. And this was, what year are we looking at here? This is 1988. So let's look at some of this.
Hey, Miss Penny, you know me. I'm the girl who can't get rid of her mother. No matter how I try, she's always there, ready to say,
I told you so.
Like last month, when she told me I'd have a hard time if I wanted to break up with this personnel director I was dating. And when I did break it off, I had to give him 2 weeks' notice.
I told you so.
Why are you always here?
I'm just making sure that you don't tell vicious stories about our family to total strangers.
Mom, I want to do a stand-up comedy act. If I have anything to say about our family, will only be the truth.
That's what I mean. Vicious stories about our family.
Why must you always be with me?
Oh, because we're a team. Simon had Garfunkel, Stilla had Mira.
Caesar had Brutus.
Penny, I don't have to stand for those insults. I could be home watching my favorite game show.
And what show is that?
Wheel of Fortune Cookies.
There you go again, just thinking about food. You're supposed to be on a diet.
But I am on a diet.
Well, what diet are you on?
I'm on that liquid diet.
How is that liquid diet?
Oh, it's heck trying to get a Big Mac up a straw.
Well, weren't you on that Scarsdale diet?
Oh, yeah, I shot my doctor.
Have you ever thought about trying any diet pills?
Well, I was once on the Valiums diet.
What's the Valiums diet?
You take 30 Valiums and the food falls out of your mouth.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miss Coco and Penny. And you could just have a seat over there by Constantine and Dave.
So your fellow guests here are Konstantin Bokov, the street artist who is still doing his street art, and Quentin Crisp, who was a very proper British author, and I don't know that he was accustomed to American comedy like this.
Yeah. I'm not
So
sure what
now
he thought of us.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm saying, I'm not sure what he thought of us, but I think he liked it.
Yeah.
You ladies have been performing together now for a little while.
For a long time, right?
Right, we met in the hospital.
I guess that's true.
In the maternity ward, you met. Okay. So what? Now you play a lot of places all around.
Right, we work throughout the comedy club circuit.
Yeah, we were just in Pennsylvania, and last night we were at Dangerfields, and we play all over.
Right, where we can be booked.
Now, are you the only mother-daughter comedy team? Was I right to say that, or?
Yes, we're the only mother and daughter comedy team in history.
And it's wonderful that you both get along so well that you can do that.
Well, actually, when we do this act, it's a chance for me to yell at Mom, and then I don't have to talk to her for the rest of the day.
Okay. David, sit back, please. Please sit back. Okay.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, it's nice to have you here, and have you been enjoying our show so far?
Very
That's Mr. Bokov and
Yes.
David and Mr. Crisp. And Mr. Crisp, do you like stand-up comedy? I don't know.
I do when I understand it. If the jokes are political, I don't understand them. But when they're domestic jokes, then I enjoy them.
Yeah, just like Coco and Penny's.
Yeah.
Do you do political jokes at all, or?
Oh, not too much.
No, maybe just a very, very little.
And have you ladies been familiar with Mr. Crisp's work? Any of his books or anything? Do you appreciate his work?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Very much.
Or? Okay, and
Treat for us.
okay, and David, I don't think likes anything sometimes when he gets.
Yeah,
well,
Cute though.
he is cute, though, right?
Oh, they like you, David.
It's another little friend over there.
I think David is blushing. I never see him blush. Okay. All right. No. Sit down. Sit down. Shh. Okay. Why don't we move on to something else now?
So I guess since you two had done the live show first, you kind of were prepared a bit for our TV show.
Yeah. And David Green, he was so funny. I guess we flirted with him a little bit. Sorry that he got up there. Sorry about that.
Now, Dennis Devine is asking, during their club work, did Coco and Penny have any bad experiences regarding clubs and or specific performers they worked alongside?
Well, I'm trying to think. There was one time we were doing a club on Long Island. I think it was Governor's Club. And one time, and I think one of the local papers came out too, because a lot of times people want to write up this story about this crazy mother-daughter comedy act. But we got out to the stage and there were no microphones.
Oh.
So we felt like we got a little sabotage there. And we could find the microphones. So we just did old style, being stage actors. We just projected and did it that way. So we got through it. But we did feel a little, not being able to deliver like the best show that we could. So I do remember that experience.
It was interesting when I was just doing searches for mother-daughter comedy teams to find more history on YouTube, that there are now a number of mother-daughter comedy teams, influencers, on YouTube. Are you aware of this? That this is...
No, I didn't know. I mean, I know there are different mother and daughters that do work together in different fields. Now, are they actually working as comedy stand-ups?
Well, doing comedic videos on YouTube.
Oh, comedic videos. Okay.
Yeah. And I guess Melissa and Joan Rivers eventually started kind of doing your thing too. Eventually.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, what they would do, what they call like a paired interview. If you remember, they would have them different celebrities do the carpet and like, what are you wearing type of thing. And they would kind of do that type of thing. Yeah. But ours was really the old school, as I said, the straight man and the comedy person doing the punchline. Set up punch. That was really our format. Yeah. And I will check out the videos. It's interesting to know about other mother and daughters doing things.
And now being in these clubs back in the 80s, you had to see some stand-ups who went on to some fame. I mean, you were at Dixon's White House. Eddie Murphy used to play there as a teenager. That's right. Yeah. Do any come to mind of people that you got to know very early on before their careers really took off?
Ray Romano, I remember. And we actually did the comedy stop at the Trop in Atlantic City with him. So I remember before he was as well known as he had.
Was he was also from Massapequa, or?
I'm not sure about it, but definitely from Long Island. He definitely a lot of Long Island comics that became very successful. And Kevin James also came out of the whole Long Island community of comedians. I'm trying to think. There were a lot.
And good memories of those two in particular?
Oh, yeah. I'd say, yeah. I didn't. We might be on like the comedy lineups with them, so I can't really say we really got to know them personally. But we kindred spirits, I guess, working comedy.
Vic Martino has another comment. Book and Martino were in the show hosted by Al Lewis as well, where Suzanne Muldowney as Dracula almost bashed Ray's head in because we did a skit spoofing Count Dracula. Do you recall that incident? Were you around for that?
I mean, I do remember Suzanne. She was amazing, doing all different characters, and I think she did do a Dracula bit.
Yeah.
That day, but I guess I didn't realize that there was almost a little accident that happened there.
Yeah, I do remember that. She was angry that night because the guys were doing a sketch kind of spoofing Dracula, and she was doing a serious thing about Vlad the Impaler. Right. It was just this weird turn of events.
She took things very, very seriously.
He also says the radio show, the Steve Allen radio show, was at Charlie O's in Manhattan.
Oh, that's it, Charlie O's. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And TC is saying, Penny, your smile is a treasure. You were and still are a cutie.
Thank you. Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And now you really, when I'm watching these old clips of you beside your mom, you wouldn't necessarily see you two as mother and daughter. You were just like rail thin. She was very buxom, and did people often connect you two as mother and daughter if they didn't know you as a comedy team?
Well, a lot of times people did say there was a resemblance, so they could see that we had a similar look. And I guess as I'm getting older, looking more like my mom. But the joke is, of course, the way she was built. They'd say, yes, you see, my mom got, she got endowed. She got some. I didn't get any, but you should see my brother. That was the joke.
Someone had asked also if anyone else in your family ever joined in the act or did any performing.
Well, actually, yes. My brother worked as a professional magician for many years in Crazy Girls, which is a review in Las Vegas. And he's semi-retired now, living upstate New York. But, he worked in the showbiz. And my older sister, she actually did work as a child actor. And then so that was her extension show business.
What was he doing in the Crazy Girls review?
So he was the only male performer, and he worked as the MC and comedian and did magic between the different sets of the Crazy Girls.
Wow.
They do their songs and dances,
So very much. So I guess this was your mom's doing, just kind of inspiring you two to perform?
Yeah, definitely inspired us. Absolutely. Yes.
Wow. And what would you say was kind of your favorite? Do you have a favorite gig? I'm going to take the stuff you did with us off the table. Clearly, those were your favorites. But outside of Beyond Vaudeville and Oddville, any particular night that just was really special to you two performing?
Some shows are better than other shows. Mm-hmm. Definitely Oddville and Beyond Vaudeville were definitely highlights. Being on Letterman which just came about so suddenly, because actually I was in New York. My mom was home on Long Island, and I actually was bringing up some press kits to Richard Rothman, who then just turned to me and said, "Oh, you know what? The David Letterman show called. They want you on the show tonight." I was like, "What?" So I called my mom. She had to bring the clothes. I had to change there over at NBC. So that was quite exciting to pulling it all together all of a sudden. Gosh, there's been a lot of good. We did shows on the road. We did shows down in Florida and Texas. So we used to say we worked as north as Maine down to Florida.
Did you ever play outside of the country or no?
Canada. We did Montreal. Okay. And actually there was a show. There was a club in Montreal, blanking on the name, but that was a show that actually does kind of stand out for me because the audience was so receptive, really loved us. that every comedian that came on after us in the lineup mentioned us. Oh, what do you think of that Coco and Penny? That's really something. So we're like still like being named as each act came on. They would talk about us. They were just,
I guess, living up to the Canadian reputation of just being very nice
I
people.
guess, yes, they were very nice. And then
Uh,
we went to eat afterwards, and then people came up to us saying, "Oh, we enjoyed you." Yeah. it was really
and
nice.
Toto Payne Diaz is asking, who best managed hecklers between the two of you?
Well, actually, we were very lucky. We weren't heckled too much because I guess the nature of being a comedy team and talking together, two of us back and forth, it was hard for heckler to get the word in edgewise. But once in a while they said, "Oh, like, get off the stage." We just kind of really ignored the hecklers and just kept
Okay.
doing our thing. And then you would just kind of speed up, get to the end, and get off. That's how we handled hecklers.
There's a question. Did Coco and Penny ever consider recording comedy albums since those were in vogue in the mid to late 80s?
We actually did do some recordings, did do some kind of recordings, but it's a project I have to do actually and finalize it so
Oh,
that
wow.
that we could release that. Yeah.
So you have
It
the
was
masters.
something in the works, and it just different projects came up, and we just never finished it to release it. But maybe there'd be interest again. Maybe.
Yeah, no, this is a great opportunity. The timing might be right now,
Yeah.
because of the whole digital world, and
Yeah.
it's definitely something you could put out. I'm sure everyone here would love to hear some of that. So sweet, okay. And I guess if there are any other questions, just put them in there in chat. But Penny, I really want to thank you so much for doing this and remembering your mom and remembering the two of you as a comedy team. It must have been pretty tough when you finally lost her, even though you had her so many years.
Yeah, it was because we were very close. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the legacy continues. She left me a legacy of performing and still loving to perform. You got bit by that stage bug. It's hard to get over. So I keep on going. But but thank you always for the opportunities you gave us, Richard. Really, really appreciate it.
Well, hopefully we'll continue to have opportunities, and we'll take Penny as a solo act.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Thanks so much, Penny, for joining us. And thanks, everyone, for joining us here in the chat. We'll have more of these coming up. Please remember to like. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. We are actually have digitized the 1988 live show that Coco and Penny were in with Adam West. And we are going to be sharing that on our YouTube channel once we hit 3,000 subscribers. So there's an incentive for everyone to subscribe and tell their friends to. Penny, have you subscribed yet?
I'm gonna hit that subscribe button right now. Do it right now.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks again, everybody, and thanks, Penny. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Rich. Take care. Bye.